You're live. It should say you're alive. There's Lucy looking around, checking everybody out. And then I'm here, and you're not. So that's it. uh, okay. So Trump's throwing tantrums again. And the deal with Donnie is that it's all about how he's feeling that day. What he thinks is right or wrong, or what he wants to do that day. Somebody whispers in his ear and says, listen, we'll give you another 10 million in your checking account if you tell these people to go fuck themselves. And he'll do it because he's a greedy son of a bitch, number one. He's a narcissist, number two. And he's an idiot, number three. Well, actually, he's an idiot, number one, but what are you going to do? He doesn't care about anything except himself. A narcissist doesn't have any empathy, doesn't have a lot of things going for him. Trump is a moron. And the sooner America understands that, the better off we're all going to be. You know what I'm saying? He's just ridiculous. He doesn't play well with others. He doesn't care about others. So how could he play with people? He must have had a really rotten childhood, or maybe by his standards, it was a great childhood. He got to beat up on people, or if anybody bothered him, they would disappear or something because his father's bodyguards or security service company would take care of him. He could do anything he wanted to. He never got charged with any crimes or anything, and this guy's not honest, so he's definitely done some bad stuff in his lifetime. And I'm definitely sure he's into the Epstein thing, and listen, they're saying he didn't do anything wrong. Neither did Bill Clinton. Well, Bill Clinton was never into teenagers, so I'm doubting very seriously that he did anything wrong. His wife, on the other hand, might have had sex with some young boys or something like that. Who knows? I doubt it, though. I think she was into young girls. But then you had, did Trump commit some sort of pedophilia? Now, that's something that could get him a whole lot of trouble. That's something that, people would, start wanting him drawn and quartered and everything else, all the things that I want to see, But I really don't think even back then he was dumb enough to allow himself to, and that those photos disappeared a long time ago. And there's some photos of him there because he can't deny he was there because there's too many travel records and everything else about him to show that he was there. But I don't think he committed the crimes that, everybody else thinks he did. I just don't think maybe he is. Who knows? Maybe he did. I don't know. I just don't like the guy, and I think he's quite capable of that, but I just never saw him attracted to children because he has to like kids, and he doesn't like kids, you know. I don't know how his daughter Ivanka ever came into being, and I'd like to see a DNA test on that one, a genetic test to see if he's really the father, and then your sons are pretty much, the one with Melania Barron looks just like him, unfortunately. Every time I see that face, I want to take a bat to it. The problem I have with the Trump people, man, I can't deal with them. I don't want to deal with them. They're so despicable. They're so dishonest, so unreliable, so disgusting that it's difficult for me to even look at them without, wanting to do something, which will get me in a lot of trouble. And I don't think me being in trouble is going to help anybody. So Moving right along. What else did I talk about this morning? Oh, Canada. We're at war with Canada again. And I think that's a distraction. And everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, but there are these people on the internet that say these are distractions from the Epstein files. Nothing's going to happen to him if it's sex with him. If it's kinky sex with an accepting female, that he's not that he can't be. There's no rape scenes and there's no child molestation going on. Nothing's going to happen to him. Who cares if he's in bed with three consenting adults? There's nothing you can. Is it disgusting? No, I don't know. I mean, looking at him naked has got to make people sterile. But I just don't see an act of criminality there. If there's scenes of rape or something that can prove he raped women, did he know about it? Probably. Everybody there knew about something that was going on, and they chose to ignore it, and that's pretty much society in general. Uh, what was the case in New York City years ago? Somebody in Brooklyn or something. This is a long time ago. Was killed or raped or something like that, and they went around and there had to be at least 50 people that saw it, but then they claimed they saw nothing. you know, and the poor girl or man, whoever it was, that's the way they would. That's the way. That's when they became a big deal that people don't answer. That don't people won't testify. People don't talk about things. We stopped being neighbors. It's like I can give you a perfect example of this. When I moved into Parsippany, I was there. I was in Parsippany for like 30 years or so, 38 years or something like that. And I moved in there in the same apartment for a long time. When I moved in there, everybody knew everybody. Everybody sat down on the porches in front and talked at night and everything like that. Everybody was cool. Everybody knew my bad habits, which was not necessarily cool, but they knew I was a drunk and would, stagger home at odd hours of the night and whatnot. Uh, Everybody knew everybody. Then when I left, I couldn't tell you who lived in my courtyard. There was one guy. I knew him. Uh, Strange guy, but I knew him. Uh, didn't know the people across the way. Would see them, but I didn't know them. The girl upstairs was a little wacky. She was divorced and she stayed there, which I wouldn't have done, but she did. Uh, she was, you know, about it. I knew her to say hello to her. Uh, but that was it. I couldn't deal with any of that stuff. I'm a friendly person. I say hello to people. You know, I helped a couple of people dig their cars out and stuff like that, and then I never, talked to them again. That's just the way they are. That's the way it was when I left. Sadly, that's the way society is. You know, from the 50s and 60s to the 90s and 2000s, people watch murders and people get beat up on the street and just walk away from it. They don't want to know anything. I guess it's the 70s when I did in the early 80s. I testified two or three times in situations in the court and didn't make any. I really didn't have to testify. I just showed up and the people can either convicted themselves or there was other evidence that convicted them, and it wasn't necessary for me to testify. Because being a bartender, I have a bad reputation, and bartenders don't necessarily make the best witnesses in the world. But I was willing to do it. I didn't care. Nobody threatened my life. My father testified when he was a young man. Uh, when I was about 2 or 3 years old. He testified against the mob, and he was. I had bodyguards and everything, but he didn't care. He did it because it was the right thing to do. You know, I don't run away from things. Uh, I'm not the greatest fan in the world of police officers because I've run into some very nasty guys that shouldn't even be allowed to be on the shouldn't be allowed to wear a uniform of any sort, including janitor. Shouldn't be able to carry anything other than a feather because that's just the violent nature they have. I've run into several of those over the years, but you learn to handle them. You don't give them any shit. You just say yes and to death, and that's the end of it. Don't even look sideways. Uh, I was protected by the fact that I testified and stuff, and I knew all these police officers, and that I did this, and I was willing to do these favors for people. So that was that. Well, I'm sitting here trying to think of something that makes sense to talk about, but nah, nothing. Oh, listen, when I ask you to subscribe, I'm not asking you to give me money. You won't. I need somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 people before they'd even listen to me, before you two will even talk to me about letting me make money. But they put me up there, and I pay a little bit of attention to them. They're sharing and everything is starting to cost me money, and I'm not too keen on that. But we'll see. I don't pay any money for this. I don't ask you to pay me any money. Um, I just ask that you subscribe only because it places my video more in the general public, and it makes it more accessible when you have a lot of subscribers there. So that's why I ask for subscribers. I ask you to hit the subscribe button. And if you're really interested in it, I mean, you'll find out when I'm live. And I'm beginning to get some followers on live. When I first did live videos years ago. I forgot what I called them. I have to go look it up. But I got to a point where I had a lot of people watching them. But then it got to the point where I would miss a couple because I couldn't. I had personal obligations and stuff like that because I would do them at night. You know, when people were out there, it's like I get notices from Facebook all the time that my followers and everything on my other websites and all that are out there at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. I can't do that anymore. Well, because I have that's my life is reading and watching television at night, and I follow television shows and everything, and watch the news and everything in the evening, and you get caught up in something. People come over and visit us in the evening, when on the way home from work, especially now with my wife being sick and whatnot. I don't know whether I told you what my wife has a lot of trouble walking now. If she can barely walk, she's kind of like she has a walker, a high tech walker, and all that. And they discovered what it is. It's Pome's disease. It's very similar to cancer, but it's not cancer. The problem's going to be the second round of drugs she takes because it's about $3,000, and I have the money, but if I had, it'll take care of our future. So I have money for her future. So we'll see what happens. So, but she's all right. She goes through mood swings that are not nice, but I'm used to that. She's never been really. Lately, she's never been that pleasant to begin with. So, but she's my wife, and I deal with it. So anyhow, hit the find subscribe button. Hit that. I'm surprised. I don't know where it is. It's not on my screen, so I don't know where it shows up in terms of you wanting to subscribe to a live video, but go to the channel, and just hit the subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. You'll get notifications. You don't get the videos automatically. You still have to go find them and whatnot. But you'll get notifications. Like you'll get notifications. I'm online now. They mail it to me. So that's huh. I don't understand why it doesn't show anybody here. And then when I look at it later, they all watch it at a different time, I guess, because I'm not dependable enough. You see, that's the problem with everything, with live videos. That's why I don't do a podcast. Podcasts cost money, and then I have to be there, and that's like a job. And I'm not into work. I'm into having some fun and just being me. All this stuff, doing these things came from the same thing where my book writing. Why did you write a book? Because I got all this stuff in my head and I got to get it out. My head's getting kind of full. And this is just a matter of me being able to exercise my ability to have an opinion doing these videos, and basically almost have a conversation with you guys, more or less, but not have a conversation with you if you. I know that doesn't make any sense. I don't make any sense most of the time, so just don't worry about it. But if there's something you'd like me to talk about, hit me up, uh, leave a comment, and I will see what I can do about that. I do look at things and study things before I open my mouth up. So I wish Trump would do the same thing. All right, that's it for me today. We will see you in the morning tomorrow. Ciao.